welcome to another episode of Psoto Desperado Plays Star Wars The Old Republic. I'm going to do some of this and some of that on the game. Do some random stuff just to get some inventory because, you know, my currency isn't very high right now. Like here I can get more tech fragments, and there's things I could do to try to get this up. So I was going to do some of these random ones. But that's for this character. I can still do the mission on the other character as well. Nothing wrong with that. And I also got that Jedi character that... was it Jedi? Oh no, it was Ravager, I think, that I transferred over. So I can still level him as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get something set up. Like I said before, I cannot show you the screen. The recorder will screw up, but it'll pause this game for now and allow me to start. I'm going to show or play Joey the Gypsy. And the name of the video is Life is Unfair ? And it's a rant.
Alright, I'm going to do some ranting and raving in this video. It's been a while since I've done that.
Alright.
I guess I'm just so sick. Now, I got to be careful what I say in the first minute, but I'm really sick and tired. Now,
There we go.
I'm not even talking about myself. Like, I kind of swindled my way through the Matrix only because I am not a normal person. So I feel bad for a lot of the normal people out there, and they are, you know, a lot of people think there's something wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with them. They're totally normal. Your reaction to this insanity that you've been raised in is totally normal. You shouldn't be content with this nonsense that we're forced to put up with. So, you know, I've said before that they say life is not fair. Life is actually very fair. Life is fair, but modern Western society is not fair. It's the furthest thing from fair. How long's it been? Can I start being more open yet? So, I want to rant and rave about prescription medications. Now, you know, oh man, the timing. So, this one cat, this is the smartest cat out of all of them. He's also the oldest. He's about to walk by. Well, let's see. Is he gonna come by? Hold on. There he is. What's up, buddy? Y'all see him? That's Calendar. Not a very good name for a cat. I didn't name him, but he's the smartest one out of all these cats, I think. Well, he's also the oldest, but so when I've got extra food, I dump it over in the field over here because it's, you know, I don't consider it wasting food if the animals eat it. I don't care if the ants, the bugs, whoever eats it, as long as it gets eaten, it's not a waste. So I dump my food over there, and that cat is the only one who's smart enough to know my schedule and to, you know, so he kind of, around the same time, I get out of my car and straighten everything out and dump whatever food I didn't eat from yesterday. That cat kind of knows my schedule. You know, he's the only one smart enough to know I'm going to dump food over there pretty much, you know, at least a couple of times a week, and he watches and he waits for it. The other cats, you know, they'll get over there after he's eaten half of it, you know what I mean? Because he's the one who's smart enough to kind of know what I'm gonna do. He anticipates what I'm gonna do. Animals are smart, bro. Anyways, so I mean, we're monkeys. We're as far as animals go, we're really smart, but as far as intelligence goes, we're kind of stupid, honestly. But so it really bothers me because here's the thing. I've got friends and relatives who are on prescription drugs, and one of the reasons I make these YouTube videos is because here's the thing. You guys listen to me. The people I know do not listen to me. It's like talking to a brick wall. You know what I mean? I can't get anything through to them. So hopefully they watch my videos where I can speak uninterrupted and not have to counter their arguments. It's amazing. People will argue with you to maintain a life that they're not happy with at all. And it drives me nuts. And it's like, you know, a very important book is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. And one of the main things Sun Tzu teaches in that book is that there's the way things are and there's the way you want them to be. You got to deal with the way things are. So Sun Tzu is famous for basically having a small army that conquered very large armies because he was strategically genius. And he was looking at the situations and finding the advantages. So he pretty much invented guerrilla warfare. Like when you've got a smaller army, you don't just go head on with a huge army. You hit and run. And so the Art of War teaches us how to think strategically. And so, you ever seen that movie Red Dawn? It's a great movie. It's about America gets invaded by Russia and Cuba, and there's this group of high school kids that form this like rebel group called the Wolverines, and they fight a guerrilla war against the occupying force. It's a great movie. And one of the lines that really stuck with me, now you got to realize I saw this movie as a little kid. And this line had an impact on me. Even as a little kid, I understood how important this point was that the Russian general was making. So at one point they I forget exactly what happens. They kind of ambush the Wolverines, and I think they kill one or two of them, but not all of them. And this is like there was some really good Russian general came in, and because the Wolverines were becoming quite an issue, they were costing a lot of money and they were causing a lot of problems. So they called in this one Russian general. I forget his name in the movie, but he comes in and he comes up with this little plan, ambush or whatever. They do like a supply drop, and when the Wolverines go to get it, they ambush him with, they like a aerial attack. They got like this couple of helicopters or something, and they end up killing one or two of them. And I think the general was in one of the helicopters, and when they get back, and the major or the colonel, whoever's answering to the general, he's doing like a report, and he's like, I think we killed 6 or 7 of them. And the general's like, I only saw 2 bodies. He's like, why do you think it's 6 or 7? And he's like, well, they carry off their dead. And the general's like, oh, that makes total sense. Yeah, in the middle of an ambush, they're going to run back and drag away the dead. He's like, don't lie to me. He's like, lies are defeat. He's like, it's pointless. It's stupid. That's not how you win, by pretending you won. And so, even as a little kid, I was thinking to myself, that is an important lesson right there. Just because you want it to be a certain way, and you can say it, that you can pretend and you can say it and you can even lie to yourself, but it does not change the fact that that's not what happened, and you got to deal with what's actually happening, not what you want to happen. So what got me started on this, let's just say I know someone who's been working jobs they hate their whole life, and I can't get it through this person's head that you cannot spend your whole life doing things you hate for a living. You can if you want to suffer, but it's an option. You don't have to do it. Here's the thing. This is a person he's been selling insurance for a long, long time, and he's spent a lot of time, effort, and energy to be in this industry. He's had to take classes, he's had to spend money to get certified, to sell this and that. And so I understand not wanting to just throw out all that effort and start something new. It's, but here's the thing. don't continue to make a mistake just because you spent a long time making it. You're clinging to this wreckage. It ain't working. And I don't blame you for that, because, it's hard to even be direct with people nowadays because they get offended. They think I'm trying to make myself look good and make them look bad. Or they think, if I'm criticizing them, that a lot of people, when you criticize them, they take it personal, and they think, I don't want to hear this. I don't want to hear how messed up I am. I'm not saying you're messed up. I'm saying we all make mistakes, and that's okay. We all do. I've made plenty myself. But I don't, once I learn from a mistake, I don't fret over it. Because here's the thing. I'm not going to make it again. I am a different person now. I know more. I learned from that mistake. So I don't have to fret about it. I don't have to feel guilty about it. I am a different person. This person who I am now, faced with that situation, would do the right thing. So I don't feel, I don't feel shame or guilt or whatever. Maybe, but because it's like I learned something important there, and it made me a better person. And I wouldn't have learned without that experience. So it's okay to make mistakes. I don't fret over it. I make plenty myself. I'll make a million more probably. But so it's like, when I'm criticizing people, they think I'm saying like, you are a moron. What I'm actually saying is, you were behaving like a moron. You didn't, you don't have to continue to do that. You're not a moron. You're behaving like one. You're not stupid. You're doing some stupid things. You know what I mean? And I get it. Look, the only way that I could escape this loop of bullshit jobs that I can't stand, the only way I could figure out to do it was to ditch everything and go live on the street. And, it takes a very specific type of person to be able to do that. And I'm not even saying I'm super tough and super strong. I'm saying I'm extremely efficient and I am extremely resourceful. So I can go out there with nothing and figure it out. That's a rare thing. You know what I mean? I don't know how rare it is, but it's, judging by the people on the street, most of them were not very efficient or very resourceful. Some of them were, but most of them were kind of way over their heads. You know what I mean? And that's understandable. It's, being homeless is a difficult thing. It's not a, it's no one should ever have to deal with that. It's the fact that people end up homeless in our society, in our civilized modern society, is absolute fucking insanity. The fact that people have to live that way and push everything they own in a shopping cart, while people, their own brothers and sisters that were, their own community, walking past them every day, not giving a shit, and blaming them. Oh, you should have worked harder. This is what bothers me about the modern right. The modern right thinks that they're like part of the 1%. You guys, look, I'm on the right, I'm not on the left, but the whole paradigm is ridiculous. And I gotta say, I find the right to be just as annoying and honestly stupid as the left. And I would not, most of the people on the right, I don't want them in charge either, because they're fucking idiots too. It's like, they think they're all Andrew Tate and they think they're all Elon Musk. Like, buddy, you work in some stupid shit fucking sales job pretending you're some sort of fucking tech bro. Like, shut the fuck up. You can pretend to be anything on the fucking internet. The reality is, you're not a fucking billionaire. You're never gonna be a fucking billionaire. Stop making excuses for them, because they're hoarding up all the money while you got other people digging their lunch out of the fucking trash can. And that's wrong. I don't give a fuck. I don't care how hard they work to get it. Like, it's just wrong. I mean, I'm not the arbiter of good and evil and right and wrong, but I can tell you this much. If I had $1 billion fucking dollars, I'd be trying to help out the people struggling in this country. I'd be trying to figure something fucking out. I mean, I understand a lot of them, and this is kind of a harsh truth. They're pretty far gone. I don't know if they can be brought back, but you gotta fucking try. You know what I mean? You can't just leave people out there rotting until they die. I mean, you know, what kind of fucking society it does that? If we were in like a let's say a city state, a city state is like, it's a city that's also like, it's got its own army, it's got its own everything. It's completely independent from everything around it. There's usually like a wall around the city. They're ready for war. They're protecting their resources. They're protecting their people. Do you think back in them days when city states were the norm, do you think they had homeless people? They couldn't have that, because they're a cohesive unit. They gotta work together. They gotta, you know, otherwise the other city states who do work together and don't leave their people half dead in the gutter, those city states would be taking up all the power. They'd wipe you out, because they're a cohesive unit. They're not a bunch of independent, selfish dumbbells who, as long as I'm doing good, fuck everyone else. And I you know, I get it. You can't save everyone. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to fucking judge people too much here. Look, I'm just ranting and raving, but let me get back to my point here. All right, back to my point with the prescription thing. Here's the thing. Here's the problem. What the prescription medications do is they give you the ability to tolerate things that you should not be tolerating. You know what I mean? This is how people end up spending their whole life doing some job they can't stand, because it's the only way they're going to be able to stomach that existence is if they're on drugs. So it's like, you know, you think, oh, the drug addicts on the street, I don't want to give them money, they're going to spend it on drugs. They need that. They need they need that the same way your mother-in-law needs her Xanax. You know what I mean? Or whatever. Do you realize how dangerous those, what do they call it? Like the Xanaxes and the Klonopins? What are they? Barbiturates? I forget what they're called. I'm not a chemist. But being homeless and being around a bunch of heroin addicts and alcoholics for a very long time, a lot of them were prescribed Klonopins and Xanaxes and shit like that, and they would tell me it was harder to kick that shit that they were getting from their doctor than the dope that they were getting on the street. And it's like, what's the difference? You know what I mean? And you're dealing with people who are so they've been so screwed up by their lives that they'll do anything you give them. So if the doctor's telling them, oh, well, this'll help, and they give them this Xanax or Klonopin or whatever, they're gonna take it, and they're gonna abuse it, and they're gonna get wasted on it. It's like, what kind of society does that? It's we live in a society where it's like the bad guys are literally in control. The worst of our kind are in control of our societies. And here's the other problem. These doctors and shit, you think they don't know this shit isn't working? Like, why do they keep doing it? I'll tell you why they keep doing it. Because they want their money. And it's like, you know, I can't judge them too harshly. I guess they're facing financial ruin if they go against the grain. Look at what happened in 2020 with all the COVID thing. The doctors came out at first and they said, oh, a mask is not going to help any, so there's no point in wearing a paper mask because it's not going to block a virus. That's common sense. I knew that, and I agreed with that. A week or two later, they're telling everyone to wear a mask. And all the doctors and all the professionals went right along with it. And these are the people who are supposed to be the experts. You think they don't know they're lying? when they tell you that a cloth or a paper mask is going to stop a virus. I mean, have you ever seen the precautions that they take in a lab when they're working with viruses? They have to go through like decontamination chambers and wear like hazmat suits, and there's protocols in place to keep that virus from spreading. And there's no paper and cloth masks. There's no 6 feet apart. I mean, it was all lies. It was all flat out lies. And all the doctors and all the professionals played right along with it, lying straight to all of our faces. Why would they do that? And so it really makes you think, like, well, what else are the experts lying about? Like, take climate change, for instance. I understand that's a polarizing subject, but when are y'all going to learn that these experts are telling you what they're paid to tell you? They don't look, science is an ongoing thing. There is no solid, oh, this is this and this is that. No, science is always under scrutiny. As they're telling you, accept the science. Dude, that's not how science works. If that was the case, we'd still be living in caves and shit. You know what I mean? You got to evolve, and you got to try new things and try out, and figure out the way things actually are. And so, it really bothers me. So, and then you got these psychiatrists and psychologists and therapists who, they just sell drugs. And why do they do that? Because they get a commission for it. They get more money. So it behooves them to get everyone addicted to everything. And these are the people who are in control of the mental health of our societies. And so it's like, here's one of the reasons why no one can figure out who to blame. Because on some levels, we're all to blame. Like, I've walked past plenty of homeless people, and look, you can't help everyone. And here's the other thing: if you're just charitable to everyone, they're gonna take everything you've got, and then if you gave away everything to help them, and you were homeless, they would steal from you. It's like, I mean, who's to blame? We're all to blame. We all got to stop being pieces of shit. We got to stop, the doctors got to stop selling drugs to people. You know what I mean? It's up to us. Here's the thing. People get the government they deserve. People get the leadership they deserve. So this is what I mean when I say life is actually fair. There's a whole lot of unfair shit happening in Western societies, but you know what? Most of us are playing right along with it and being unfair and looking out for ourselves and screw everyone else. And how many people, if they were in the position of these doctors, would actually go against the grain and say, I can't be putting my patients on this shit. First of all, they trust me. And second of all, I can't live with that, with just being, making all this money and just screwing all these people. How many people would do that? Most people would play right along with it, and they'd be happy as shit with their little boat and their little Corvette and their nice little house, and they'd be like, I don't give a shit about them people. That's, I believe, the majority of people. Maybe not, I don't know. And the only reason, here's the thing, I couldn't even say for sure what I would do, but, there was a time in my life in the past where I would have been right along with it. Fuck them. My bills are paid. I got a nice house. I'm not risking all that to, what am I, Jesus Christ? No, fuck that. I'm going to do what they pay me to do. But nowadays, after experiencing what I've experienced, and I would not. I can tell you, I don't think I would. I couldn't tell you for sure unless I was in the situation. I don't think I would, bro, because because I've been at the bottom with nothing, and God was with me. So that's what really matters to me, is being true to myself and being true to God. Whatever else happens, it ain't, you know, I'm not happy sleeping on the street. It doesn't make me feel good, but I can tell you one thing, you know, at least I am answering to God, and I'm not answering to this corruption and bullshit. So it's like, you know, I walked around with my head held high. I slept like a baby right on the fucking sidewalk, because I knew that I didn't play the corruption and I didn't screw people. And you know what? I ended up homeless and broke, but deep down, I respected and liked myself, because I didn't sell nobody out. You know what I mean? So that's what matters to me, is how I feel about myself. So, you know, so this is why I think in the position that these, you know, I don't think I would do what they do, because what matters to me is how I feel about myself and how I see myself, and that's what matters to me. I don't care, like, I do care, everyone cares what other people think. When I was homeless, it is an embarrassing thing, you know, especially before I knew what I was doing and I looked all filthy, and, you know what I mean? That was mortifyingly embarrassing. And I understand why it drives people nuts. You know what I mean? Some people never even get past that phase of homelessness where they figure out how to stay clean and blend in. You know, I've seen people on the street in New York who they've been pissing in their pants for 10 years straight. I'm not even kidding you. There's been times where I've gotten on the train in New York. It'll be rush hour. All the trains are packed, and then I'll see an empty car coming. I'm like, oh shit, let me go get a seat before this car fills up. I get in there, and the smell hits you like a wall, like you walked into a wall. And it's not like just like, ew, that's a bad smell. It's a smell like a chemical that is burning your nose, and it's like you feel like you're being poisoned just breathing it in. And you'll look over and you'll see someone laying on and they smell like pneumonia, because they just pissed themselves for God knows how long. Their clothes are disintegrating off their body. It's like, what kind of society has that happening? You know what I mean? So, you know, hopefully this video makes sense. I don't know if I, you know, should end it. I could go on and on and on for hours on this subject, because here's my main point. Stop blaming yourself, and if you're on some sort of prescription, whatever, look, do whatever you feel is right, but I don't think that's the answer. I think what the answer is, you got to figure out. Here's the thing. Figure out, look, whatever job. Here's another thing I heard one time in one of my Zen books. It said, and this is one of the reasons I ditched everything and was willing to be homeless. The book said, and I forget who said it. It was in like a Zen book. It said, you'd be better off begging than working a job that you hate. Because when you work a job you hate, you're not doing it very well, most likely, because you hate doing it. There's other people who would probably be good at that job, who would appreciate having it. And so it's like, the book said you'd be better off begging on the street, because at least then you're giving people an opportunity to be charitable, and you're not necessarily making the world a worse place. By working a job you hate, you're kind of making the world a worse place. You know, look at the people who work in these fast food places that hate it. You see them fighting the customers on Instagram and shit. They're, you know, so you know, here's the thing. The truth sets us free. If you're living a life that is unacceptable to you, you got to face that truth, and you got to start figuring out what you got to do to make it acceptable. And, you know, mighty forces are going to come to your aid. You know, intention is what matters. So, everyone, you know, everyone has a right to not be miserable. So when you start taking steps towards that, I believe the other forces, God, whatever you want to call it, they're going to help you along. But you gotta make the moves, and you gotta make the decisions. So, cats over here rolling in the dirt. They love the dirt, the cats. They're not happy unless they got dirt all over them. So, what's up, buddy? This one's real shy. Y'all want to see the cat? Hold up. Oh, wait. You enjoying the dirt over there, buddy? Yep. He loves it. Look at him. That cat's real shy. He probably yelling at him. Alright, so, look, the truth sets us free. So if you're miserable, you got to figure out what you got to do to not be miserable. My advice is, don't cover it up with just drugs and alcohol or whatever, even prescription drugs, because it ain't gonna change nothing, and you're just wasting time, in my opinion. You know what I mean? So look, I understand it's easy to talk from the outside. I'm not living your life. I get that, but you got to realize I've been through all this shit too. And there was more than one time in my life where I thought to myself, I should probably be on some sort of antidepressant or something. Truthfully, I never really thought that was the answer, but it did occur to me on more than one occasion, But I never really even seriously considered it, to be honest. It never seemed like a viable option to me. You know what I realized when I was younger? And I wasn't able to get myself to sleep. This is in middle school, because I couldn't get myself to sleep early enough, and then in the morning I'd be dragging ass. I was like, I want to go to sleep earlier, so I started taking these Tylenol PMs, and my mother caught on, and she was like, you're way too young to be doing that. She's like, first of all, and this is one of the smartest things my mother ever said to me, she's like, what are you going to spend the rest of your life taking sleeping? I was like 14. She's like, you're going to spend the rest of your life doing that? She's like, first of all, I'm not going to let that happen. She's like, second of all, sooner or later, they're not going to be there. So you got to figure it out. Just deal with it now, is what she was telling me. Basically, like, do what you got to do to go to sleep. This ain't happening no more. She's like, I'm not even fucking buying these no more, because she wasn't, and thank God, because, and I realized at that young age that she was right, that I can't rely on this external thing. Sooner or later, I'm going to have to sleep without it. So I may as well deal with that right now while it ain't too bad. And I've been living, that's been one of the main strategies of mine in life. When I realize there's something that I got to deal with, I'm gonna just deal with it right now. You know what I mean? Now, this video can go on and on for hours. Like with the homeless thing, I felt like that was something I had to deal with. I delayed it as long as possible. I should have just dove in sooner. You know what I mean? But you live and you learn. And so my point is, if you're facing some shit that sooner or later you're gonna have to deal with it, for instance, you're on opiates or something, sooner or later you got to get off that shit. That's reality. You can't live the rest of your life on it. So you may as well get off it now. And I've got videos that explain how to get off all that. Suboxone and heroin. I've never been on methadone. So anyways, that's the end of this video. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for the subs. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the tips. Thanks for the Patreons. And thanks for the members. I'm going to remember to thank the members from here on out. And, look, if you feel free to ask me anything in the comments. If you want a response, try to get it within the first 30. I guess that's the end of this one. I got to work on my bike. The thing's falling apart on me, and it needs to get dealt with. So I appreciate y'all. That bike is really starting to piss me off, to be honest. But anyways, so Yeah, appreciate y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Everybody have a good one, and stop blaming yourselves, man, and start realizing this whole society is run by lunatics, and their time is coming to an end. I believe that. So, anyways, see y'all on the next one. Everybody have a good one.
Wow. Joey always comes up with a good video, man. I'm telling you. Yeah, I know. The thing is, there's layers and layers to this reality, and I got to look into a couple of layers, and there's really nothing good there about it. This place has been compared to hell because of all the pain and suffering and bad things that happen to people. Good people getting killed off, punished. And every time you do something good, it costs you something. But every time you do something evil, it costs somebody else something. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. So, I don't know. Maybe people disagree, but yeah. But anyway, I'm going to stop this video early. I'm going to lay down. I had to change the battery in my car today, and I had to walk it all the way over there. And thankfully, a neighbor gave me a ride the second time around. But I'm just kind of tired. When I feel up to it, I'll make another video. But thanks for watching. Okay, guys. All right. Bye-bye.